Hey YouTubers, it's me, Monkeydragon here, helping all your green goblins out there. Well anyways guys, I got some PS4 news. I watched the live stream, on February the 20th, 2013, and I've read a couple articles kind of explaining some of the other stuff, because I am no Mr. Smarty Pants. But really quickly, let me go in and say, the release date, they have not officialized, an exact date, but from what I've read from the articles and kind of got from the live stream, is that it's also going to come out on the holiday season, or 2014, early February. That's still kind of been the speculated release date. Now it's a little more confirmed, but not exactly confirmed. I don't want to, confuse you guys and say, yes, it's coming out now. You know what I mean? So anyways, guys, now that I got that out of the way, let me go in and talk about, the PS4. And I'm not going to tell you the specs and, tell you, oh, this is the GPU, CPU, all this kind of stuff, and then try to, lie to you guys and say this is what this is, because I'm no Mr. Smarty Pants, and I doubt that anyone that's going to watch this video, or any of my subscribers, let alone me, truly understands what all this stuff means, because I've barely got into PC stuff, and I'm barely starting to get into, all these graphical settings and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not going to try to, regurgitate all the previous information that I read, and then try to win you guys over by puffing me up and trying to make me seem smart. I'm just going to go in and talk about some of the features that I've seen from what I've liked from, kind of a standard customer standpoint, which I think is a good way to look at it. So, yeah, guys, with that, let's go and start beginning. The PS4, here's the controller picture. You guys may have not seen it. This has actually been the confirmed one, so you guys may have seen it because it's been slightly leaked. And if you guys don't believe me, here's actually a confirmation picture of it, during the live stream when the guy was holding it. So, yeah, guys, I want to talk about the controller first because it has some really cool stuff on it. First of all, the black pad in the center, that's actually going to be a touchscreen pad. And I have a few ideas how this might work, although I'm not 100%, sure this is how it's going to work. But I can imagine, if you guys have ever played Skate 3, there is a way for you to play to where, like, when you're using the joystick, you got to swirl around and flick up and do all this kind of stuff on there. And for me, sometimes I mess up. And I can imagine that when you're on the touchscreen span, that maybe you could actually do that with it. You can flick up, flick down, and do all that kind of stuff on the touchscreen, and it'll be a lot more precise than you using it on the joystick. And I can imagine while you're using the touchpad, there's a lot more stuff that you can do. Although they haven't fully discussed, the entire capabilities of the touchpad, I can imagine that it'll have some great features. Really quickly, I want to talk about the share buttons on the side of the, not on the side, but the center sides to the left and right. Those two buttons. And one of them is share. And that can actually live stream to Ustream. And that's kind of like an online website where people live stream to. And that's really cool. If you're trying to get into YouTube, if you are a YouTuber, or if you're doing this or doing that, that's a really cool feature to just straight up live stream. That's really, really cool. I'm really liking that feature. And I also want to say this, that if live streaming isn't your thing, you can actually virtually show people what you're doing. Oh, let me set up an example for you. Let's say I'm playing Call of Duty, and I'm really stuck on this level. I cannot get past it. And instead of me and my friends trying to roughly describe to you guys how badly I'm struggling, what level I'm on, and trying to explain what to do, I can actually virtually show you what I'm doing. I can just hit the share, and you can see my screen. You can see everything that I'm doing. You say, no. When you're running through this doorway, don't run through that doorway. There's going to be a guy there to shoot you a bunch of times. And I go, I know. That's the guy that keeps on shooting me. You can say, what you do is you pretend to round the corner, and then when you're about a foot away, you throw a nade in the door, and it kills the guy. And go, oh, thanks, man. And that's really cool to actually just instantly share your screen instead of trying to do this verbal dance when you guys are trying to figure out what level you are and what part of the level you're on and then what's happening to you. You can actually just show them what you're doing wrong and then they can help you. And let's say, a few levels down the road, a simple, share screen is not doing it for you. You cannot do this thing at all. It is just one big fight after another. He can actually take control over your controller and do it for you. And that is so cool. So instead of, looking for your older brother or maybe your younger brother, depending, on the age gap and the skill level, someone on your friends list can actually help you out. And that is so awesome. I'm just blown away by a lot of the stuff Sony is doing. And I'm really excited for the next gen system. Because this thing, those features are just so cool. To just let your friend take control over your controller and do the level for you. Or if you don't want to go that far, you can actually just share screen and you tell you what to do, which is really cool. You no longer need YouTube. Stop watching my videos. Just live stream. It's gonna put all YouTubers out of job. But anyways, guys, yeah, that is some pretty awesome stuff. And I want to talk about the blue light that everyone kind of already assumed what it was going to be. If you don't know what it is, on the back of the controller, there's this little light that was pretty much a replacement for the Move controller for the PS3. For the PS3, how you had the balls or the balls. You had those little sticks with the balls on the end of it, and that was where your Wii Move kind of stuff was. I hope you guys understand what I'm talking about. The Move for the PlayStation, where you get to dance around, do all that kind of stuff. Now that's going to be what a part of the controller is, that little light down there. So that's a replacement for that, which is really cool because the Move was a little funky. It didn't look at all cool. It looked weird. But yeah, that's another really cool thing. They're just integrating it straight into the controller, which is really cool. And yeah, that's all I really have for the controller itself. Now I want to kind of move a little bit into the system and talk a little smart right now and talk about the specs. Not entirely, but I just want to say this. If you guys didn't know, the PS3 actually had a weird floor plan. And let me try to explain it through this way. The PC and Xbox had one kind of floor plan of how all the parts within it work together. Just for imagination's sake, the CPU ran through the GPU and then through the RAM and then, to the hard drive, and then it went ahead and made your game. Well, the PS3 went weird. It was like the GPU into the CPU into the RAM. You know what I'm saying? It was different than what the Xbox and the PC ran through. And I'm not saying this is what happened or da-da-da-da-da. I'm just trying to make a rough explanation of how this stuff kind of works. And if that imagery didn't work for you, let's just say blueprints. Okay, the blueprints for the system of how everything works together was different in the PS3 than it was in the Xbox and PC. So that's why the PS3 had a lot of problems with, AAA titles, was because when you were making these games, when you went from the Xbox to the PC, it was really simple. It was slightly like a copy and paste kind of thing. But when you came into the PS3, it was kind of a bigger problem because the system didn't run the same. It didn't have the same kind of blueprints as the other systems. So they had to kind of almost remake the game, if you can kind of catch my drift. So now the PS4 is going to follow that same kind of floor plan that, the Xbox and the PC follows now. So it's going to be a lot better for, cross-platform games, which is going to be really cool. And that means there's going to be better games, across the board for all the systems, which is really good. And I'm really excited that we're not going to have as many problems as we did last time. And I also wanted to talk about, the second processor, just a little bit. If you guys can imagine, when you're deleting friends, let's say on Xbox, if someone pisses you off, you want to delete them, and then, sometimes your screen freezes and then, you have to shut off your system. Or whenever you're downloading a game in the background and you can't play a game while you're downloading a game because, you got to kind of sit there because it won't download when you're playing a game. And that's because we only have one processor. But in the PS4, we're going to have two processors, kind of like a background, just like a little sit-down thing. So that, while we're downloading games, we can actually play a game. So that when we're deleting friends or when we're downloading games, we're doing all these little kind of minor tasks, doing updates for, like, let's say Netflix and stuff, we can actually still go ahead and play our games instead of having to sit there, between the 5 and 30 minutes that it takes to do these little updates and download things, which is really cool. Because, man, when I get on my system, I don't get to play that long. So I really don't want to sit there and waste my time waiting for updates and downloads to happen, which is, once again, really cool. I've probably said really cool a lot of times, but it's really cool. Get used to it. I'm really excited for the game, and that's what I express myself with. Really cool. I do want to say right now, though, is I haven't seen any pictures for the PS4. There hasn't been, like, an official thing. I've looked and looked and looked and looked, and a lot of it's just, like, photoshopped or just stuff people have made, so I can't show you an image of what the PS4 looks like, although I have really, really searched for it. I just can't find it anywhere. But now I want to kind of talk to you guys about some of the, the games that they ran on it. And it looked awesome. There was some particle effects and, stuff that you wouldn't see before, like on a PS3 or an Xbox, that you would only see on a PC. Like, all the small little particles, the dust, the fire and everything. It looked so crisp and clear. Because when you look at, like, Call of Duty or something, it all looks kind of the same. I don't want to trash on games, but you get what I'm saying? There wasn't all these amazing little effects that you've seen. And you would only see it on PCs. But now on the PS4, it looked cool. seeing all these little particles and seeing, the bags flowing in the wind and, the dust and the fire and the explosions and all that stuff, it really added to the game. And some of these graphics, when they were actually just, showing off the graphics capabilities of the actual PS4, showing pictures of, high graphic people and situations where, the CPU and the GPU were working really hard, it looked really, really good. I can't wait for these next-gen systems, for the games that they're going to be able to produce, because, man, they're going to look so cool. I can only imagine on how these next-gen games are actually going to run, and I'm really excited for all of them. But anyways, guys, we kind of reached the end of this commentary, and yeah, I have an article linked to you guys in the description of this video if you want to read up some more, and plus, you guys can go do some more research if you want to hear more technical stuff, but me, I'm just talking about the stuff that I liked. But anyways, guys, once again, we reached the end of this video. So like the video if you liked it, or if you found it helpful, subscribe to me if you want to see more of my videos, and don't forget to tell your friends about me. And if you want to stay updated on all my videos and everything that I'm doing, follow me on Twitter. It's at xXMonkeyDragon. A link to it will be in the description. Well, anyways, guys, I'm Monkeydragon. That's all I got. Peace.